This video is going to have a look at hydrocarbons. So by the end of it you need to know what a hydrocarbon is, what the difference between an alkane and an alkene is, and how to test for that. The first thing to remember is that a hydrocarbon is something that's made up of hydrogen and carbon only. So if you have a look at these three examples down here, this one, which is methane, has got carbon and hydrogen in it, therefore it's a hydrocarbon. This one over here, octane, has got carbon in, it's got hydrogen in only, therefore it's a hydrocarbon. Now this one here, which is sugar, glucose, has got carbon in and hydrogen in, and oxygen, so we say that this is not a hydrocarbon. Which comes to the point, it's really important to get this only in, because all three of these are made up of hydrogen and carbon, but only these two are hydrocarbons because they're only containing carbon and hydrogen. Every carbon atom is unique in that it can make 4 bonds. It's the only non-metal that can do that. This is why we are all carbon-based life forms, because it helps to make complex, really large molecules. In a hydrocarbon, if you've only got one carbon, the rest of them have to be hydrogens. So you just fill it in like that. Now that is CH4, which is methane. And the model looks like that. All alkanes contain single bonds only. There are no double bonds. And these are the 4 that you need to remember for the exam. So if in the exam they turn around and say you've got 2 carbons, draw the alkane for it. Start by putting out 2 carbons and then make sure every one has got 4 lines coming out of it. Fill the rest in with hydrogen. Okay? So have a look at this. These are the ones you need to remember. So methane has got 1 carbon and the formula for that is CH4. Ethane has got 2 carbons and the formula is C2H6. Propane C3H8 and butane C4H10. If in the exam they ask you to draw a random one, so for example they gave you 5 carbons, this is how you do it. Start out by putting 5 carbons side by side. Link them up. Now it's an alkane, so it's only single bonds. You don't put any equal signs in there at all. Then make sure that every carbon has got 4 lines coming out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. And because it's a hydrocarbon, fill it up with hydrogens. So that gives you C5H12, which is pentane. Now an easier way to work out the number of hydrogens you should be putting on there, for an alkane, it's CnH2n plus 2. So take the number of carbons you have, which is 5, double it, and add 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. And that's a way to check to make sure you're right in the exam. The difference between an alkane and an alkene is that an alkene has a double bond. So if they give you 2 carbons and ask you to draw that, start by putting them in the middle, like you did last time, but then put a double bond in, an equal sign. And that's what this E in the middle represents. There's an equals in there. And then do the same thing. Right, this carbon's got 1, 2, add 2 more bonds in. This one, 1, 2, 2 more bonds in. Fill it in with hydrogens. And this one is C2H4, which is ethene. Notice the difference between this and ethane. Less hydrogens. It's got a formula of CnH2n. So you just double the number of carbons, so C2, 2 times 2 is 4, and there you go. These are the other ones you need to know for the exam. So propene is C3H6. Again, to draw it, put 3 carbons in a row, put a double bond in, you only want 1, and then make sure that everyone has got 4 bonds coming out of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. fill it in with hydrogens, that gives you C3H6, which is propene. Same again over here, 4 carbons, put a double bond in, and make sure each one has got 4 bonds. So if you wanted to do that for pentene, again you do exactly the same thing, this time because it's got 5 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First of all, check it. So the formula is CnH2n. So if I've got C5, I should have H10. Let's check that. Put a double bond in, single bonds for the rest of them, and put in your lines. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Fill it in. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so on. The final thing you need to know about alkanes and alkenes is how to separate between them in the chemical process. So if you're given 2 test tubes with 2 different alkanes and alkenes in, and you need to figure out which one's the alkane, which one's the alkene, you add bromine water. The bromine water is a yellowy, orangey liquid, and it's also toxic. So you can see the bottle here, something that you don't want to get on your skin. So I'll just show you what it looks like. So it's an orangey liquid. Now when you add that into your alkanes or alkenes, they will go colourless if an alkene is present. So I've taken some of the bromine water and I've put it into these 2 test tubes, and then if you shake them, you'll see that the one with the alkene in has gone colourless. The alkane has stayed the same. So in the exam, if they turn around and say, how do you separate between ethene and ethane? First mark is add bromine water. If the alkene is present, bromine water goes colourless, so it will go colourless in ethene. The reason for this is the double bond. Now this double bond is really easy to break. So when you add in bromine, what it does is it breaks the double bond and a reaction occurs, leaving you with a bromoalkane. Whereas if you put that into ethane, because it's already got full single bonds, nothing will happen. So it will stay the orange colour of the bromine water.